The bridal shower was supposed to be a celebration, but it felt more like a tribunal. 23 women packed into Mom's living room, all eyes on the gift table where expensive boxes from Tiffany and Cartier gleamed under the chandelier. My modest wrapped box sat in the corner like an afterthought. "Open mine next," squealed Jessica, my soon-to-be sister-in-law, pointing to a massive Hermes box. The room erupted in oohs and ahs as she revealed a $15,000 silk scarf collection. I sipped my champagne quietly from the back of the room, wearing my usual jeans and sweater combo that cost maybe $50 total. To everyone here, I was Sarah Martinez, the family disappointment who worked some vague computer job and lived in a tiny studio apartment across town. "Where's Sarah's gift?" Mom asked, scanning the table with barely concealed embarrassment. My sister Amanda, radiant in her designer dress, picked up my small wrapped box. "Oh, this little thing? She probably got it at Target." The room tittered with polite laughter that felt like knives. "You can't even afford a proper wedding gift," Amanda continued, her voice dripping with condescension. "I mean, look at you. Same old clothes, same old broke Sarah." Mom nodded in agreement, her lips pressed into a thin line of disappointment. "Sarah, dear, maybe you should have pooled money with Cousin Beth for something nicer." I smiled and stayed quiet. What could I say? That I'd deliberately chosen a simple $200 kitchen gadget because I knew Amanda would appreciate the irony later? That my computer job actually meant I was the CEO of Phoenix Dynamics, the AI company that had been making headlines for months? Amanda unwrapped my gift with exaggerated enthusiasm. "Oh, bread maker. How practical." The room fell silent with second-hand embarrassment. "It's perfect for your new kitchen," I said simply. "Right?" Amanda forced a smile. "Very thoughtful." The shower continued around me like I was invisible. Women discussed their vacation homes in the Hamptons, their children's private schools, their husbands' law firms and medical practices. I was the family ghost, present but unacknowledged. "Sarah still living in that shoebox apartment?" asked Aunt Patricia, stirring her tea with deliberate noise. "Same place," Mom confirmed. "We keep telling her to find a nice man and settle down, but she's too focused on her little hobby business." My hobby business had revolutionized machine learning algorithms and was currently valued at $2.8 billion, but I just nodded along. "Still working on it. You know," Amanda said, addressing the room while looking directly at me, "some people just aren't cut out for success. They're meant to be the worker bees while others lead." I'd been leading a team of 847 brilliant engineers for 3 years, but I smiled and said nothing. The afternoon dragged on. Gift after gift revealed expensive jewelry, luxury vacations, and designer everything. My bread maker sat forgotten on the side table like a reminder of my supposed inadequacy. "I just worry about Sarah," Mom confided to Mrs. Henderson, our neighbor. 32 years old and nothing to show for it. No husband, no real career, living paycheck to paycheck. My last paycheck was actually a quarterly dividend of $47 million, but I kept that information to myself. "Maybe she could work at the front desk of one of David's clinics," suggested Amanda's future mother-in-law. "Something simple, you know? Answering phones." David was Amanda's fiancé, a successful plastic surgeon who'd never missed an opportunity to remind me that some people were naturally gifted, while others were better suited for support roles. "That's so generous of you to think of me," I replied politely. As the shower wound down, Amanda pulled me aside in the kitchen. "Sarah, I need to be honest with you. The wedding is going to be elevated. Black tie, very sophisticated crowd. David's colleagues, my sorority sisters, important people." "It sounds lovely. The thing is," she continued, fidgeting with her engagement ring, "maybe you could skip the reception? You're still invited to the ceremony, of course, but the party afterward." She trailed off meaningfully. "You don't want me at your wedding reception? It's not that I don't want you there. It's just, you might feel out of place. All these successful people talking about investments and business deals and European vacations. It might be uncomfortable for you." I studied my sister's face, seeing genuine concern mixed with embarrassment. She really believed she was protecting me from humiliation. "I understand," I said quietly. Relief flooded her features. "Oh good. I'm so glad you get it. You can watch the ceremony and then maybe grab dinner somewhere nice." "I treat." We rejoined the group just as someone turned up the volume on the TV. The evening news had started and the anchor's voice filled the room. In our top story tonight, Phoenix Dynamics has completed the largest tech acquisition in the city's history, purchasing rival firm Teknova for $2.8 billion. The deal cements Phoenix Dynamics' position as the leading artificial intelligence company in the region. The room fell silent. Everyone was staring at the screen where a professional headshot filled the frame. My professional headshot, taken 3 months ago for Forbes magazine. CEO Sarah Martinez, just 32 years old, has built Phoenix Dynamics from a small startup into a tech giant worth over $2.8 billion. The acquisition of Teknova adds 450 employees and cutting-edge quantum computing capabilities to Martinez's already impressive portfolio. I could hear Amanda's champagne flute hit the floor, shattering into crystalline pieces that nobody moved to clean up. The reporter continued, Martinez, known for her privacy and low-key lifestyle, rarely gives interviews but is considered one of the most brilliant minds in artificial intelligence. Her company's adaptive learning systems have revolutionized everything from medical diagnostics to autonomous vehicle technology. Mom's face had gone completely white. She was staring at the TV, then at me, then back at the TV as if trying to solve an impossible equation. Industry experts predict Phoenix Dynamics could be worth $10 billion within 5 years, making Martinez one of the youngest billionaires in tech history. She'll be speaking at tomorrow's acquisition announcement at the Grand Plaza Hotel. The news segment ended, cutting to a commercial for car insurance. The room remained frozen in absolute silence. Sarah. Amanda's voice came out as barely a whisper. That's you. I nodded calmly. That's me. But you live in that tiny apartment. You dress like someone who doesn't care about impressing people with designer labels? Mom found her voice. How long have you been CEO? 3.5 years. We went public 18 months ago. Aunt Patricia was the first to recover, her social climbing instincts kicking into overdrive. Oh my goodness, Sarah. Why didn't you tell us? We had no idea you were so successful. I supplied helpfully. Important, she corrected, already calculating how to leverage this information at her country club. Amanda was still staring at me like I'd grown a second head. But the apartment is actually a penthouse. I bought the whole building 2 years ago. I like the neighborhood. And your clothes are comfortable. When you're running board meetings and product demos all day, designer heels lose their appeal. I looked around the room at all these women who'd spent the afternoon pitying me, dismissing me, treating me like the family charity case. Their faces showed a fascinating mix of shock, embarrassment, and rapidly recalculating social dynamics. The bread maker, Amanda said suddenly, looking at the forgotten gift on the side table. You gave me a bread maker. You mentioned you wanted to start baking as a hobby. It's actually a commercial-grade model used by professional bakeries. I had it custom-made by a company in Germany. It cost about $3,000. Amanda picked up the box with trembling hands, reading the small print she'd ignored earlier. Handcrafted in Bavaria, professional series, limited edition. Her voice got smaller with each word. Sarah, sweetheart, Mom started, her tone completely different now. Why didn't you tell us? We could have been supporting you, celebrating your success. You mean like you're celebrating now? The room shifted uncomfortably. Everyone could feel the weight of the afternoon's condescension hanging in the air like smoke. About the wedding reception, Amanda said quietly. I was wrong. Of course you should come. You're my sister. I smiled the same polite smile I'd been wearing all day. That's very kind, but I think your first instinct was right. I would feel out of place. No, really, I want you there. David would love to meet you properly. His colleagues would be thrilled too. To network with someone they thought was beneath them an hour ago? Amanda's face crumpled. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. If I'd known. If you'd known I was worth billions, you would have treated me differently. I understand. That's not what I meant. Isn't it? The silence stretched out until Mrs. Henderson cleared her throat. Well, this is certainly surprising news. I stood up, smoothing down my $50 sweater. Thank you for the lovely shower, Amanda. I'm sure the wedding will be beautiful. You're leaving. I have an early morning tomorrow. That acquisition announcement, you know. I headed toward the door and suddenly everyone wanted to talk to me. Business cards appeared from nowhere. Women who hadn't acknowledged my existence all afternoon were suddenly fascinated by my journey and vision. "Sarah, wait," Mom called out, following me to the foyer. "Can we talk? Maybe dinner this week. I'll check my schedule with my assistant." "Your assistant?" "I have 3 actually. Plus a personal chef, a driver and a housekeeper. Turns out when you're running a $2.8 billion company, you need help with the little things." Mom's eyes filled with tears. "I've been such a fool. You treated me exactly how you always have, Mom. The only thing that changed was your perception of my bank account." "That's not fair. Isn't it? This afternoon you were embarrassed by me. Now you want to have dinner because I'm successful. What does that say about unconditional love?" I opened the front door, stepping into the cool evening air. Behind me, I could hear the shower guests buzzing with excitement, already planning how to work my story into their social circles. "Sarah," Amanda called from the doorway. "I really am sorry. About everything. About the reception, about what I said." I turned back to look at my sister, beautiful in her designer dress, tears streaking her carefully applied makeup. "Amanda, I love you. But I can't unsee who you really are when you think I have nothing to offer. I want to make this right. Then don't invite me to your reception because I'm suddenly worth knowing. Invite me because I'm your sister and you want me there regardless of my net worth." "I do want you there. Because I'm Sarah or because I'm C.O. Martinez?" She opened her mouth to answer, then closed it, realizing she couldn't separate the two anymore. I walked to my car, a modest Honda Civic I'd been driving for 4 years, much to my CFO's horror, and drove home to my tiny apartment that took up the entire top floor of a building I owned in the city's most exclusive neighborhood. Tomorrow I'd stand before 200 journalists and business leaders to announce the biggest acquisition in the city's history. Tonight I'd eat takeout Chinese food and watch Netflix just like I did every Sunday. My phone buzzed with texts from family members who hadn't spoken to me in months, all suddenly interested in my life. I turned it off and ran a bath. The bread maker would work perfectly in Amanda's new kitchen. I'd chosen it specifically because she'd mentioned wanting to learn baking during our last conversation 6 months ago. It wasn't about the money, it was about listening, about caring enough to remember what mattered to her. But that was before she decided I wasn't worth having at her reception. As I sank into the hot water, I couldn't help but laugh. Tomorrow's headlines would probably mention the reclusive tech CEO who lives modestly despite billion-dollar success. They'd never know that the most expensive thing in my apartment wasn't the custom smart home system or the original Monet in the bedroom. It was learning exactly what my family really thought of me when they believed I had nothing to hide behind. And honestly, that knowledge was priceless.